Frequent nighttime urination, known as nocturia, disrupts sleep, drains energy, and over time can affect both bladder and heart health. Many people assume it's just about drinking water too late, but in reality, the foods you eat during the day have a much greater impact. Certain ingredients increase bladder irritation, trigger inflammation, or interfere with hormones that usually suppress urine production at night. When these systems are thrown off, your bladder becomes more active while you're trying to sleep. After working with Nocturia patients for 15 years, I've seen that adjusting food choices often improves symptoms faster than medications. It's not just about avoiding drinks. It's about understanding how specific foods either calm or irritate the bladder, and how they affect fluid balance overall. Even so-called healthy snacks can contain hidden acids, caffeine-like compounds, or excess salt that push the bladder into overdrive. In this video, I'll walk you through 3 foods that support nighttime bladder control and 5 foods you absolutely need to avoid. These aren't just single ingredients. They're complete meals and common foods that you're probably eating now without realizing their effects. Now we're going to begin with something soothing and gentle, a comforting option that many overlook. It's warm, filling, and packed with bladder-friendly nutrients. Let's take a closer look at barley and blueberry milk porridge. Barley and blueberry milk porridge is more than just a warm breakfast. It is a bladder-calming combination that works at the cellular level. Barley is a low glycemic index grain, meaning it digests slowly, keeps blood sugar stable, and avoids the glucose spikes that can irritate bladder nerves. A half cup of cooked barley delivers about 3 grams of beta-glucan fiber. This specific type of soluble fiber supports healthy gut bacteria, lowers systemic inflammation, and reduces nighttime urine production triggered by insulin shifts. Most people do not realize that unstable glucose levels in the evening can disrupt antidiuretic hormone rhythms, which usually signal your kidneys to hold water during sleep. Blueberries add even more strength. Just half a cup supplies about 20 milligrams of anthocyanidins, the deep blue pigments shown by research from Tufts University and Oregon State University to relax smooth bladder muscles and reduce urgency. These antioxidants also protect delicate capillaries in the bladder wall, especially important for older adults or people with high blood pressure. Eating this combination in the morning gives your body time to absorb the nutrients fully before nighttime. The fiber also slows digestion throughout the day, reducing bowel pressure on the bladder by bedtime. Now let's talk about how to prepare it right. Cook the barley in almond or oat milk instead of dairy, because cow's milk can sometimes worsen symptoms in sensitive individuals. Add half a cup of fresh or frozen blueberries. Sprinkle in a teaspoon of ground flaxseed and some chia seeds. These add omega-3 fatty acids, which fight inflammation and provide a gel-like texture that helps slow digestion even more. If you are using dried berries, always go for those without added sugars or oils. Many products marketed as healthy snacks are loaded with sweeteners that overstimulate the bladder. When shopping for barley, look for hulled or pearl barley. Hulled barley still has its bran layer, so it contains more fiber, while pearl barley is polished for quicker cooking, but has slightly less nutrition. Always rinse it thoroughly before cooking to remove any hull dust or surface starches that can make it gummy. On the label, sodium should be less than 5 milligrams per serving. High sodium content leads to water retention during the day and increased nighttime urination as the body tries to get rid of the excess salt. From my personal work as a doctor, after treating people with bladder issues for 15 years, I have found this porridge to be one of the most consistent food-based strategies. I have seen patients move from waking up 3 or 4 times a night to sleeping soundly just by changing their breakfast. Have you tried a breakfast that helped your symptoms? What was in it? Let me know in the comments. But now let's change direction. What happens when your evening snack feels healthy but turns out to be one of the worst triggers? Next, we are taking a closer look at the highly deceptive peanut butter granola. Before we continue, I want to hear from you. What brought you here today? And what are you working on for your health? Drop a comment below and tell me where you are tuning in from. If you care about improving your quality of life and keeping your body strong and balanced with age, consider subscribing. And if this topic speaks to you, type 1 in the comments to let me know you are finding it helpful. Now let's break this down further by turning our attention to peanut butter granola, one of the most misleading healthy snacks on store shelves. The trouble starts with the sugar. Just half a cup of commercial peanut butter granola can pack up to 10 grams of added sugars. These often come from honey, agave syrup, or refined sugar blends that sharply increase insulin and cortisol levels. When insulin spikes after eating, the kidneys respond by trying to flush out excess glucose, which draws fluid into the bladder and ramps up urgency. That is one of the main reasons you might find yourself waking up in the middle of the night after what felt like a harmless snack. Now add peanut butter to that mix. Even just 1 tablespoon of regular peanut butter adds around 150 milligrams of sodium. That sodium retains fluid during the day and triggers the kidneys to eliminate it at night, which pushes bladder activity while you are trying to sleep. A study from Harvard Medical School also highlights that high sugar foods interrupt nocturnal bladder hormone regulation, including anti-diuretic hormone rhythms. That throws your nighttime water balance off track, even if you stopped drinking water hours before bedtime. What makes it worse is how often this food hides in other products. You will find peanut butter granola used in cereal bars, breakfast cereals, and health snack clusters that sit near the front of grocery stores. They often contain sugar alcohols like maltitol and erythritol, tapioca syrup, or artificial flavors. These not only trigger fluid shifts, but can also cause bloating and gas, which puts pressure on the bladder from the digestive side. Have you checked your favorite bars lately? You might be surprised how often these ingredients show up. Let me know if you have a favorite product you are now questioning after hearing this. For a better option, try making your own version at home. Use whole rolled oats, mix in unsalted nuts, and add a sprinkle of cinnamon. This keeps your sugar intake low and avoids the sodium bomb that comes from processed nut butters. You can also try almond butter with no salt or sweeteners added if you like the creamy texture. After working with many patients over the last 15 years, I have seen how cutting out this one snack can give people 1 to 2 extra hours of uninterrupted sleep at night. That alone can change how your entire day feels. Let's take a more detailed look at the next sneaky source of nighttime bladder stimulation. We will get into the hidden bladder effects of kale and sweet potato steamed salad. A steamed salad made with kale and sweet potato offers much more than basic nutrition. Just 1 cup of kale delivers over 500 micrograms of vitamin K, which supports bladder tissue elasticity and reduces microtears in the lining that often go unnoticed, but cause inflammation. Kale also provides around 46 milligrams of magnesium, and that is critical because low magnesium has been directly linked to muscle cramping and poor nerve control in the bladder walls. Have you ever felt bladder urgency with no clear trigger? A magnesium deficiency could be one reason. Now think about what sweet potato adds here. Each cup offers nearly 4 grams of fiber, and fiber slows digestion, which helps stabilize blood sugar and cortisol. Stable cortisol during the day means fewer spikes that would otherwise signal your kidneys to dump fluid later at night. That fiber also supports better bowel movements, and less pressure from the intestines reduces urgency from the outside of the bladder. Sweet potato also gives around 440 milligrams of potassium, which balances sodium and reduces fluid retention. I have worked with many patients whose water weight dropped significantly just by including more potassium-rich meals like this, and with that, nighttime urination improved too. When you steam kale and sweet potato together and dress it with a small amount of olive oil, a splash of neutralized apple cider vinegar, and pumpkin seeds, you get added zinc, healthy fats, and polyphenols. Zinc helps repair tissue, especially in the bladder wall, and supports immune function, which prevents low-grade urinary inflammation from recurring. Olive oil enhances the absorption of fat-soluble nutrients like vitamin K, while apple cider vinegar, when neutralized correctly, supports digestive enzymes without irritating the bladder lining. Just be sure you do not use bottled salad dressings. Most store-bought dressings contain high sodium levels, often over 200 milligrams per tablespoon, plus preservatives that disturb bladder balance. Also, oversteaming these vegetables can destroy the very antioxidants and minerals you need. Keep them firm but tender. Research from Michigan urology programs confirms that dark, leafy greens reduce overactive bladder risk by influencing hormonal and nerve signaling in pelvic organs. That is something I have seen consistently in my practice. 1 or 2 cups of this combination at lunch can reset your body's rhythm for the evening. I always tell people it is not just what you eat at night. It is how you build your day that creates bladder calm by bedtime. Do you already include kale or sweet potatoes in your meals? What combinations work best for you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Stay with me until the end. The last 2 could make the biggest difference, and one of them is rarely talked about. Let's continue with a food that seems comforting but often worsens nighttime bladder activity without warning. Now we shift our focus to ricotta cheese with berries, a pairing that can confuse even the most careful eaters. Ricotta cheese with berries might look harmless, but this combination can be surprisingly irritating to your urinary system. Ricotta contains whey proteins that have a mild diuretic effect, which means they encourage your kidneys to release more fluid. This can lead to more frequent trips to the bathroom, especially during the night when your body should be in its resting phase. Have you ever had what seemed like a small snack, and then found yourself waking up to urinate more than once? That could be your body responding to this kind of subtle trigger. Now let's talk about the berries. While berries are packed with antioxidants and vitamin C, most of them are acidic by nature. When that acidity combines with the moisture-drawing proteins in ricotta, it can irritate the inner lining of the bladder. Even when people choose low-fat ricotta, sodium levels can still be high, sometimes over 200 milligrams in just half a cup. That adds another layer of strain because high sodium levels cause your body to hold onto water, only to flush it suddenly later, often disrupting sleep. I have seen many patients who eat this kind of snack in the evening thinking they are making a smart choice, but they end up dealing with interrupted rest and urgency issues for hours. Another common mistake is topping this with sweetened fruit mixes. These are often loaded with added sugars that spike insulin and trigger cortisol swings, both of which are linked to more nighttime urination. If you are craving a creamy snack, try switching to plain Greek yogurt with banana slices. And Greek yogurt has a thicker texture and more protein, but far less whey, which reduces its diuretic effect. Bananas are low-acid fruits and offer potassium, which balances fluid levels and helps calm muscle activity in the bladder walls. Florida-based bladder health clinics have warned against mixing dairy with acidic fruits, since together they create a double burden on the bladder lining. From what I have seen in long-term care settings, removing this one pairing from a patient's evening routine often makes a bigger difference than medication adjustments. So have you ever felt irritation after eating this snack at night? Drop a comment below and tell me what swaps have worked better for you. Now we move on to something a bit more calming and supportive, especially if nighttime urgency is your biggest challenge. Let's turn our attention to a gentle but powerful habit that many overlook. We are about to talk about a well-timed herbal tea ritual that supports deeper rest and bladder comfort. Herbal tea, when chosen carefully and consumed consistently, can help reduce bladder irritation and support smoother muscle function in the urinary tract. The key here is not just the warmth of the drink, but the unique plant compounds in herbs like chamomile and parsley. These herbs contain flavonoids, such as luteolin and apigenin, which have been shown to reduce inflammation and calm, smooth muscle spasms by directly interacting with the bladder's nerve signaling pathways. According to research from the National Institutes of Health, these plant compounds may help regulate calcium channels involved in bladder contractions, especially in people with overactive bladder symptoms. Have you ever felt your bladder behave differently after a caffeinated drink compared to a caffeine-free herbal tea? That change is not random. It reflects how sensitive the bladder is to compounds that either stimulate or relax its muscle fibers. Comment below if you have noticed that warm, caffeine-free drinks make you feel more at ease, especially before bed. Now, the timing and method of brewing play a major role in how effective this ritual becomes. Steeping 1 teaspoon of dried, loose-leaf herbs in hot water for about 5 minutes helps release the full range of beneficial compounds without overheating them, which can degrade their medicinal value. Mid-afternoon is the ideal time to drink it because it gives your body time to process the liquid and the compounds without overwhelming the bladder during the night. Have you ever tracked what time of day your bladder feels most irritated? If not, try it for a few days and you might start noticing patterns. I would love to know what you discover. Drop your observations in the comments. Over the years, I have had patients tell me that just by replacing their afternoon coffee or flavored tea with a pure chamomile or parsley infusion, they experience better sleep, fewer sudden urges, and even less burning during urination. This is likely due to the direct anti-inflammatory action these herbs have on the urothelium, the thin layer lining the bladder, which is rich in sensory nerves that react quickly to irritants. The more stable and soothed this lining is, the less likely it is to trigger those frustrating signals that send you rushing to the bathroom. It is also important to understand what kind of tea you are using. Many commercial tea bags include additives like citrus oils, artificial flavor powders, or even traces of mint. These ingredients, while meant to improve taste, often worsen symptoms by overstimulating the bladder lining. Loose-leaf herbs, especially those bought in bulk from reliable sources, tend to be free of these irritants and retain more of their natural oils and active ingredients. Have you ever compared the ingredient list on a flavored tea bag to one that is 100% pure herb? If you have, what differences did you notice? Let me know your thoughts, because so many people do not realize how those tiny ingredients can have a big effect. Urologists from the Florida Bladder Institute often recommend caffeine-free herbal teas to patients who experience frequent night urination or urgency during the day, and they report consistent improvements in comfort within just 2 to 3 weeks of regular use. The reason is not just the lack of caffeine, it is the soothing effect of the plant compounds on the autonomic nerves controlling bladder function. This is especially important for people over 50, whose bladder tissues may become more reactive as part of the natural aging process. Are you in the habit of drinking anything warm in the evening? If so, how does it affect your sleep and your bathroom visits overnight? I would really like to hear your experience, so feel free to share in the comments. Now let's turn our attention to something on the opposite end of the spectrum. While herbal teas can bring calm and support, many drinks marketed for energy or refreshment do just the opposite. Coming up next, we will take a closer look at energy drinks and sodas and how they impact not just your bladder, but also your hormones, hydration, and nervous system. Energy drinks and sodas, especially those high in caffeine and carbonation, tend to cause increased diuresis. That means your kidneys produce more urine than usual, which puts pressure on the bladder and increases the urge to go, often with little warning. The combination of caffeine and carbonated gas irritates the inner lining of the bladder, which is already sensitive in people who deal with urgency or discomfort. Do you often feel like you need to use the bathroom shortly after drinking a soda or energy drink? If yes, that is not just coincidence. It is a real physiological response. Now let's talk about what these drinks contain. Most of them are packed with caffeine levels above 70 milligrams per can, and that number is often even higher in energy shots or larger bottles. Caffeine is a known bladder stimulant. It makes the bladder muscles contract more frequently, and it can also increase sensitivity in the bladder wall. Alongside caffeine, these drinks are loaded with chemical additives listed as natural flavors, which sounds harmless but often hides a blend of acids, synthetic compounds, and hidden sweeteners. Some of these compounds have been shown by the Houston Methodist Urology Department to disrupt the protective barrier in the bladder lining, leading to more inflammation and burning sensations during urination. Have you ever noticed any changes in your bladder habits when you drink diet sodas compared to regular ones? You might think going with a sugar-free version is safer, but the truth is, many diet sodas include artificial sweeteners like aspartame or sucralose. These compounds are not absorbed well by the body and often irritate the lower urinary tract. They are also known to affect gut bacteria in a way that may influence bladder health indirectly, by increasing the permeability of the intestinal lining and allowing inflammatory agents to enter the bloodstream. Let me know your experience. Have you ever felt a stronger urgency after having a diet soda? Even more concerning, energy drinks often contain phosphate additives. These are used to give drinks their fizzy bite and shelf stability. But phosphate compounds have been linked to increased inflammation in smooth muscle tissues, like the bladder wall. Research published by the National Institutes of Health has pointed out that excessive phosphates may weaken the bladder lining, especially in people over the age of 40. That is something many people overlook when reaching for these beverages daily, especially in the workplace or during long drives when bathroom access is limited. So what can you choose instead when you want something bubbly without the side effects? One option I often recommend to patients is unsweetened, caffeine-free sparkling water. Just be sure it does not include citrus oils, artificial fruit essences, or preservatives like potassium benzoate, which can still cause irritation in some people. Have you ever found a flavored water that sits well with your bladder and helps keep you refreshed without discomfort? Drop a comment below and share your favorite one. It might help someone else looking for alternatives. Now we move on to something that gives energy without any of these risks. It is warm, protein-rich, and supports muscle health across the body, including the pelvic floor. Let's turn our attention to egg and spinach egg muffins, a smart breakfast that your bladder will actually thank you for. Egg and spinach egg muffins are simple to prepare, but their nutritional power runs deep. 2 eggs supply around 12 grams of high-quality protein, and that is important because protein not only repairs tissues but also helps regulate muscle contractions, including those of the bladder and pelvic floor. Eggs also provide choline, a nutrient essential for nerve function and cellular health, especially in organs that require precise nerve signaling like the bladder. Are you already getting enough protein in the first half of your day, or do you often skip it? Spinach brings even more to the table. It is rich in magnesium, which is about 24 milligrams per muffin if you use a decent handful, and magnesium plays a role in calming muscle spasms. The bladder is a muscle that contracts as it fills, so keeping it calm with nutrients like magnesium can reduce urgency and overactivity. Spinach also gives you folate, which supports healthy blood flow and tissue repair in the urinary tract. I often tell patients that every small choice in your diet can either reduce or trigger inflammation, and leafy greens like spinach lean toward the healing side. Have you tried adding spinach to your meals regularly, or does it still feel like a side dish? Now, when it comes to preparation, the method matters more than most people think. Whisk the eggs until smooth, fold in finely chopped spinach, add just a pinch of salt, and pour into a muffin tin. Bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 minutes. That baking time keeps the texture light while making sure the center is fully cooked, which helps avoid sogginess that can come from underbaking or overfilling. Overfilling also traps steam, which changes the protein structure and makes the muffins collapse. Have you had that happen before when cooking eggs? Cheese might seem like a good add-in for flavor, but it often brings unnecessary sodium and saturated fat, both of which can make bladder irritation worse. Many types of cheese also contain aged compounds like tyramine, which some studies from Duke University have linked to increased bladder sensitivity in people over 40. So, if you are looking for bladder-friendly results, it is better to skip the cheese and let the natural flavors of egg and spinach shine. What do you usually add to your eggs in the morning? I would love to hear your go-to combinations, especially if you have created a version that works well for your body. When buying ingredients, go for cage-free eggs whenever possible, because these often have a better balance of omega-3 fatty acids. That helps reduce inflammation in the body long-term. Fresh spinach is best too. Bagged spinach with dressings or preservatives may contain additives like citric acid or ascorbic acid, which can irritate the bladder lining. Canned spinach also tends to have added sodium, which makes water retention worse and stresses the bladder. Do you shop with these things in mind, or are you usually in a hurry when grabbing ingredients? According to bladder research out of Duke University, a moderate protein intake at breakfast or lunch, not too high, not too low, helps stabilize bladder activity at night. That might seem surprising, but what you eat early in the day can set your internal rhythm for the next 16 hours. That is why this muffin idea is more than just a recipe. It is a tool to help manage your body's signals. Are you thinking about trying this recipe out soon? Let me know your thoughts, or if you want help adjusting the ingredients to fit your taste. Now we move forward to something that often gets overlooked. While meals like this support your bladder health during the day, there are hidden traps at night that can undo your progress without warning. Let's turn our attention to nighttime protein bars and see what is really inside them. Many of these bars contain more than 20 grams of protein, mostly from whey protein concentrates or isolates. Whey-based proteins are fast digesting, which may sound good for muscle recovery, but they also increase metabolic activity and pressure on the kidneys, which leads to more frequent urine production. Have you ever had a protein bar at night and noticed you woke up to use the bathroom not long after? It is not just the protein that causes concern. A closer look at the ingredient label often reveals artificial sweeteners like sucralose or sugar alcohols such as maltitol and erythritol. These compounds do not break down fully in the digestive system, which means they ferment in the gut, pull water into the colon, and create bloating and urgency. For someone with a sensitive bladder, that digestive stimulation alone can lead to increased detrusor activity, which is the muscle in the bladder responsible for contractions. Have you been checking your snack ingredients for these names, or do they still sound unfamiliar? Another common issue is that these bars are sold as clean snacks that support fitness goals, so people tend to trust them without realizing they are loaded with bladder-irritating compounds. According to specialists at the Mayo Clinic, many people with overactive bladder symptoms do not see improvement until they cut these bars out of their nighttime routine. The problem is, the effects are often delayed. You might eat the bar at 8 in the evening and not feel the bladder irritation until you are trying to sleep or wake up at 2 in the morning needing to go. Has that ever happened to you, where your sleep got disrupted and you did not connect it back to a snack you had earlier? If you still want something satisfying at night that supports muscle health but is more gentle on the bladder, Greek yogurt with a few nuts is a much better option. The probiotics in Greek yogurt also help improve gut health, which has been shown in bladder health studies to reduce inflammation in the urinary tract through what is called the gut-bladder axis. Nuts provide magnesium and healthy fats, both of which support nervous system stability and help prevent spasms in bladder muscles. I often recommend this combo to clients who crave something filling in the evening but want to avoid waking up at night. What is your current go-to snack after dinner? I would love to hear what works for you and what you are trying to change. Evening leg elevation paired with the right hydration timing is not just a comfort trick. It is grounded in how your body moves and stores fluid throughout the day. When you spend hours standing or even sitting upright, gravity pulls fluid into the lower parts of your body, especially your legs and feet. That fluid does not just disappear. It collects in your tissues, and once you lie down at night, it slowly returns to your bloodstream and heads toward your kidneys, leading to more urine production. Have you noticed your legs feeling heavier or slightly swollen by the evening? Raising your legs about 12 inches above the heart for just 30 minutes before bed helps your body shift that stored fluid earlier in the evening, not during the hours when you need to be sleeping. This small shift reduces the pressure on your kidneys during the night, which lowers how much urine they need to process while you sleep. Have you ever tried propping your feet up in the evening to see if your night felt more restful? At the same time, hydration timing plays a key role in this process. Instead of stopping water intake too early or drinking too much right before bed, the goal is to hydrate about 2 hours after dinner with 1 standard glass of water, roughly 8 ounces. This timing gives your body enough space to process fluids without creating a surge in urine output during the night. The mistake I often see is people either skipping hydration completely or waiting until they are thirsty at night, which makes the kidneys work overtime. Let's wrap things up with a clear and helpful summary, so everything stays fresh in your mind. Barley and blueberries help steady blood sugar and calm bladder nerves. Avoid peanut butter granola, since it is packed with sugar and salt. Kale with sweet potato offers anti-inflammatory fiber that supports your body all day. Ricotta with berries may seem healthy, but the mix of dairy and acid can trigger bladder issues. Herbal teas give calming flavones without caffeine. Skip sodas and energy drinks that act as diuretics and irritants. Egg and spinach muffins are protein-rich and bladder-friendly. Night protein bars contain sweeteners and too much protein. Bonus tip: elevate legs and hydrate early, like subscribe and drop a comment if this helped.